In 1971, Roger and Caroline Perron, along with their 5 daughters, sought a tranquil escape from the clamor of city life. They found what they believed to be their dream in a sprawling, historic farmhouse nestled in the quiet countryside of Harrisville, Rhode Island. The old estate, with its 28 rooms and vast land, promised a peaceful, idyllic existence, a place to raise their children amidst nature's calm. But they were tragically unaware that the house was far from the peaceful sanctuary they envisioned. It was a place with a dark, violent history, a property that was not empty, but already occupied by a host of malevolent spirits, forever trapped within the land's own tragic and bloody past. This is the true story of the Perron Family Home, a terrifying decade-long haunting that systematically turned a family's dream into an inescapable living hell, where the forces of evil didn't just attack, but relentlessly sought to possess and destroy them from within. The strange and unsettling phenomena began almost immediately after the family moved into their new home, starting as subtle, almost dismissible occurrences. The young Perron daughters, ranging in age from 5 to 16, were often the first to encounter the house's unseen residents. They frequently reported seeing apparitions, describing spirits that were, at first, seemingly harmless. Some were playful, like a little boy who would appear to be playing with their toys, while others were more sorrowful, spectral figures who would simply watch them from the corners of rooms before fading away. Faint, disembodied whispers would emanate from empty rooms, the words just out of reach of comprehension, creating a constant, unnerving hum of unseen activity. Small objects, like toys left in the middle of a room, would move on their own, sliding across the floor or being found in entirely different locations. Caroline, the mother, began to feel a persistent and deeply unsettling presence, a cold spot that seemed to follow her throughout the house. The unnerving sensation of being watched by invisible eyes, no matter where she went. The initial mild fear and curiosity that the family felt quickly began to curdle into a pervasive anxiety as the paranormal phenomena became more frequent, more direct, and undeniably real. The benign spirits of children were soon overshadowed by darker, more menacing entities that began to make their presence known in more physical, aggressive ways, turning the family's daily life into a state of constant escalating dread. The spirits haunting the Harrisville farmhouse were no longer content with harmless pranks or fleeting apparitions. Their interactions grew bolder, more aggressive, and undeniably malevolent, transforming from simple disturbances into outright physical and psychological assaults. The once playful poltergeist activity took a sinister turn. The daughters began to experience terrifying nightly torment. Some reported having their hair violently pulled and their legs tugged while they slept, waking up in terror to an empty room. Caroline, the mother, seemed to be a particular target for the entity's wrath. She would frequently wake up in the morning to discover mysterious, painful scratches or unexplained bruises blooming on her body, with no logical explanation for their appearance. The family's senses were assaulted in other ways as well. The sickening, overpowering stench of decaying flesh would suddenly permeate the house. So thick it was almost suffocating, only to vanish as quickly as it had appeared, leaving a lingering sense of nauseating dread. The physical manifestations of the haunting escalated dramatically. Doors throughout the massive house would open on their own and then slam shut with terrifying, explosive force, rattling the very foundations of the old home. Windows would be found inexplicably open, even after being securely locked, or would slam down with enough power to shatter the glass. The family began to realize, with growing horror, that they were not just dealing with lost souls or residual energy. They were trapped in a house with something far more sinister, a force that seemed to feed on their fear and was intent on causing them physical harm. As the haunting intensified, one entity emerged as the primary tormentor, a spirit of ancient and profound malice. Through historical research and psychic investigation, this dominant force was identified as the malevolent spirit of a woman known as Bathsheba Sherman. She had been a mistress of the house in the early 19th century and was rumored to have been a Satanist who cursed the land with her dying breath. Historical reports and local legends suggest that she harbored an intense, seething animosity towards any woman who dared to become the mistress of the home, viewing them as a rival for control of the property. Caroline Perron, as the new matriarch of the family, became the central focus of Bathsheba's terrifying rage. Caroline was subjected to numerous and increasingly violent attacks by the spectral entity. She was thrown from her bed in the middle of the night, levitated and slammed against walls, and had her hair viciously pulled by an unseen force. The attacks were not merely physical. They were a form of psychological warfare. At times, the family witnessed horrifying transformations in their mother. Caroline would feel a possessing presence, attempting to take control of her body, her voice changing as she spoke words that were not her own, her eyes becoming vacant, cold, and filled with a chilling, malicious light. The family watched in sheer terror as their beloved mother was tormented and violated by this ancient evil, her body and mind becoming a battleground for a spirit that sought not just to scare them, but to utterly dominate and destroy their matriarch. In their growing desperation, facing an evil that was far beyond their comprehension or ability to fight, the Perron family reached out for help. They contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren, the world-renowned paranormal investigators and demonologists. Upon their arrival at the Harrisville farmhouse, even the Warrens, who had investigated countless hauntings, were horrified by the sheer intensity and brutal nature of the phenomena plaguing the Perron family. Lorraine Warren, a gifted clairvoyant, immediately confirmed the presence of multiple spirits within the home. But she identified Bathsheba Sherman as the most powerful and dangerous entity, a deeply inhuman spirit fueled by pure hatred. The Warrens attempted to cleanse the house, performing minor exorcism rites and religious provocations in an effort to drive the malevolent spirits out. However, these attempts only seemed to enrage Bathsheba further. Each attempt to combat the darkness was met with a violent and terrifying backlash, leading to more aggressive attacks on the family, particularly on Caroline. The house became a true spiritual battleground, with the family caught in the crossfire between the investigators' attempts to help and the furious retaliatory wrath of an ancient evil that refused to relinquish its hold on the home and its inhabitants. The situation escalated to a point where one attempted séance went horrifically wrong, resulting in Caroline being fully, though temporarily, possessed. An event so traumatic it would scar the family forever. After nearly a decade of living in a state of unceasing terror, financially and emotionally broken by their ordeal, the Perron family finally managed to leave the Harrisville farmhouse in 1980. They fled the property, but they never truly escaped the haunting that had consumed their lives for 10 years. The psychological scars and traumatic memories of the entities, the attacks, and the constant fear followed them long after they left the cursed land behind. The Perron home, now famously known as the Conjuring house, still stands today in the quiet Rhode Island countryside, a chilling and somber reminder of the horrifying events that transpired within its walls, and of the malevolent spirits who, by all accounts, refused to leave. It serves as a harrowing testament to the terrifying reality that sometimes the past does not stay buried. It clings to a place with a violent grip, turning a family's dream home into a prison for both the living and the dead. And the scars left by that kind of profound horror, they never truly heal.